And my headline is that hoping for overperformance is an unacceptable plan for the Chicago Cubs right now. That's not okay.
I think for me, understanding the Cubs had the seventh highest payroll at $230 million compared to the Brewers, who were down in the low 20s with half that at $115 million. Knowing where you are, it sounds like he says he's excited about the future. But I think for me, it's like, what are you going to do this offseason to close the gap? There's a clear gap between the Brewers and the rest of the National League Central. You need to close that gap. And I don't know that he has a plan besides bringing up guys within the organization and hoping for better performance from the guys he already has on this team. And remember, Cody Bellinger, big reason why you were in it last year, he has an option which he can decide.
And also, Bellinger came up in this continuing concern about how Wrigley plays as two parks. He mentioned that Bellinger had an OPS that was 200 points lower at home, and he said it's an unusual season to evaluate the offense. It's the weather. It's how Wrigley played. And then he says, collectively, we fell into a slump in May and June, but we ended up getting to our expected numbers. Well, if you got to your expected numbers, then the plan didn't work. You got there one way or the other, and you have an opponent that's also playing in Wrigley Field on those same days.
Yeah, that was my big thing. He's like, you keep bringing up Wrigley Field, and, it's down, played 29th. He said possibly even 30th after he gets the numbers back from the final homestand. But both teams play on the same field.
Wrigley's suppressed offense this year. Adding more slug would be beneficial. We'll always be looking for more slug. And then ask directly about why can't you, get a really good player who projects to be a really good player. And he says it's a hard thing to figure. You can't only rely on external projections.
I don't disagree with the statement you can not just rely on outside guys to go get, but you can also not only rely on inside guys to go get, is my point, my answer to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of tap dancing going on here. If you want to have a 90-win projection, you can acquire players that will increase that projection. This really isn't that difficult. We're making this sound like it's so hard. It's all of the things involved. It is. It's pro personnel. It is development. It is drafting. It is knowing your team. Some of it is luck. I get that.
Yeah,
but luck isn't a plan. You plan around luck. You don't plan for luck.
Orioles, Braves, Dodgers. Those are the three teams Fangraphs projected to get to 90 wins this past season. Now, the Braves, they were projected to win more games than anybody else at 95.
They lost Acuna and Albies.
That's why when they lost their star players, they were still able to get across the finish line and be in the playoffs, although it did come down to the very last game of the season. An extra day, if you will. But you have to put yourself in position, whether that's through, quote, internal or external means, to be at the start of the season to have those types of expectations.
The talking around not having a star player, and then you say, yeah, look at these playoff teams. They had surprising performances. Great, good for them. But that should be gravy.
This isn't the 1980s where 4 teams make the playoffs. Like 14 teams make the playoffs. So, not 14. It's 12 teams make the playoffs. Yeah, yes. 12 teams make the playoffs. So with 12 teams making the playoffs, you just have to be one of the better teams. You don't have to be like the elite team. There's plenty of room. Like we said, there's a reason only 90 wins is all you need to get in. It's not that hard. And you didn't even need 90 wins to get in, but like that should be a bar that you should try to cross every year.
It tells me we should not expect that they are going to make a splash in the trade market or in free agency.
Maybe the trade market, because they do have a glutton of players who are on the precipice of maybe becoming major leaguers. That maybe you can Michael Bush somebody else.
Yeah, somebody who's blocked and see what you can find.
Exactly. But otherwise, don't expect him to go sign Juan Soto per se.
This segment is brought to you by